Hello once again, and welcome to God's Truth Ministries International, going through thumbnail sketches of the 7 majors in these short little videos just so you can have a thumbnail sketch foundational view of what each of the 7 major points are. Point number 4 is kind of maybe it's a title I haven't decided on yet, but it's an exposure of all the false systems of beliefs within Christianity. So exposure of false beliefs might be the name of it. I think in some previous episodes I've titled it Platonism, Gnosticism, Calvinism, Fatalism, and Arminianism are all false systems that must be exposed. Well, that's a little too long of a title. That sounds like the late 18th century or early 19th century titles of some books that were like 38 words long or something. But anyways, all false systems need to be exposed. And I know in some Christian circles, the main emphasis is just Jesus and love. But if you look at Jesus' ministry, and even Paul's in the Acts of the Apostles, Peter, Paul, all the things that the apostles went through historically in the book of Acts, even the things Paul talked about in his epistles, the things recorded for us, and the things known to us even through historical records from secular historians like Josephus and so forth. The apostles went through tremendous trials and tribulations. And so besides just the majors of the things I've pointed out about the true gospel and how to have immortality and open free choices, point number 4 is exposure of the false belief systems. Who was Jesus's biggest and most notorious contentions and feuds with? They were with the religious people of his day, the Pharisees, the people who claimed to really speak for the law, speak for Moses, speak the truth. But Jesus said no, they didn't. Jesus says, do as they say when they're quoting Moses, speaking to the children of Israel under the law, the Jewish people under the law. Don't do as they do, because they're hypocrites. They do things for a show. They do things to please men. They do things in the eyes of men to have the praise of men. And the reason that the Pharisees turned Jesus over and made him be found guilty of false charges was because they were envious, they were jealous, and if Jesus would have taken over the scene, they all said, we'll be out of a job. Ah, yes, the almighty power structure. A lot of theologians nowadays in very, very, very prominent positions need to be out of a job. All these Calvinists and all these Arminians, and a lot of people in the Roman Catholicism church, which Catholicism is, there's a lot of Christians within these circles. Most all Calvinists I've ever met, I was once a Calvinist, that they're Christians, they just get sucked into a bad belief system. Arminians get saved, come to Christ, and then later on someone dupes them and tells them, no, you can lose your salvation. You got to keep up your end of the bargain or you're going to lose it someday. So these Christians are now walking on eggshells in life, thinking they're going to lose salvation. So one duped party, another duped party, and then Catholicism with a false religious system that kind of really redefines justification. It says it's the means of grace are received through the Eucharist and prayers and confessionals and things like that. That's other. But the main crowd I'm concerned with now is the false belief systems of Calvinism and Arminianism. And Gnosticism is within those circles of theology. Gnosticism, the belief that all flesh is bad, you're evil because you're human. You're sinful. There's just something just inherently evil about you. Well, think about this. As a baby, as an infant, we all believe, as Christians, my Calvinist brethren and my Arminian brethren, and even some of my Catholic brethren out there listening, hear me? When God was knitting you in the womb, just making you fearfully and wonderfully made in the womb, was he knitting an evil, godless, wicked sinner in there? Think about that. Think about how you're answering that. Before you answer, was God the author of your wickedness and your inherent sinfulness and your abominable flesh? Is that what the Almighty, holy God created? Is your flesh just inherently evil? Or, as the Bible says, is it that from our youth on we departed from the living God? That all we like sheep have gone astray, and each one has turned to his own way. That man is sinful from his youth. Paul says, I was alive without the law once, but sin came and I died. Sin came alive in me and I died. Are we inherently evil and wicked and just totally just venomous, just the most evil demonic dirtbags from the moment we're conceived? And a lot of Calvinists will jump to Psalm 51:5 and don't have a clue even how to interpret it. In sin, his mother conceived David. But anyways, we'll get into that. Point number 4 is the exposure of all false doctrines needs to be a major point. We have to point out error because there's counterfeit, there's falsehoods, there's lies, there's heresy in the midst of the wonderful truth of the grace of God and the true gospel and the truth of his word. Jesus Christ said, Father, in the garden, his most beautiful prayer, John 17, Father, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. Let's believe that truth. Let's go free. God bless you.